Alright, hello, this is my first video. I'm making this fast. Well, not really that fast, but... Okay, I'm gonna need to give a brief explanation, but I'm gonna go with the title. It's What If Naruto Left the Village, with extra things to it. But, we're gonna have to go before Naruto. We're gonna have to go before time itself. Well, really, there was no time. There was just the void. And then the gods. But the gods didn't really rule fairly. There was dark gods who had darkness in their power but were good, and there was gods with light, but they had corrupted souls, which in turn made them evil and rule horribly. And so Naruto is gonna be one of the good ones, I guess you could say. Out of the 40, he's gonna be the top third than this. And there's been a constant war for over 10,000 years before the world. During halfway through this war, the evil gods called archons, were necessarily pushed back to a corner, and they needed to find more ways to get people on their side. And so they turned to the realms. The realms are a cluster of multiverses, over and over again. They can be changed very drastically or changed very little. In turns, there's not an infinite amount like you would see in multiple movies. Like, I guess you can see people go through time, like jump multiverses like The Flash. It's not going to be like that. There's a controlled amount of them. So the Archons had the ability to make them for a while, until the Lycans found out, which are the good ones. The Lycans, in turn, found out about this, and then they launched an attack, in turn killing 3 of the Archons, which drastically decreased their numbers. But at the same time, the Lycans were able to seize the Realm Crystal, or Realm Breaker, which allows direct access to making realms, as well as multiverses. But since they technically stole this and then rightfully claim it, in order to make multiverse, they need to play through the world of the respective character they are. And so, in turns, they moved from Naruto. He's already made the original, which has a classic going on, which is canon Naruto. Original is Lycans, and then a classic is going to be canon. Let's go with that. And so, in turns, Naruto or Star Lycan, which the god over, I'm not going to explain. You think you're slick because the name, trust me, you're not. It's just because of the color. But a soldier, well, a somewhat looking soldier with somewhat over the top armor, just completely covered head to toe, which I guess if you played Halo would look like this armor of the Scout variation without the big bulky chest plate and shoulders. He just has a Scout helmet which has I guess I would say a dent or a scratch mark on the right side of it. The right side would have a sword imprint going all the way down to almost his mouth, in turns where his mouth would be within the helmet. Though he kneeled down to Eren, which is the leader of them, and he knelt down, saying, "Lord, what is my next mission or assignment?" And Eren said to him, your assignment is to go make your own multiverse. We won the war, but I kind of have a feeling that only a limited number of realms and multiverses exist. I want more, life in a sense, more peace. So I'm gonna have you go to the world called Naruto. Funny enough, you're going to be Naruto, but you're not gonna. You already made the timeline, so you're gonna play a different role in this one. Alright. So I'll be sending you in as the child. You're not gonna take over him. You're gonna be him in the start. I will steal your memories so you can have your own personality in that world. Is that clear? And he said, alright. So Star got up. Aaron unleashed his power, making Star black out. Next thing he knew, without any memory, he woke up. Well, part of his memory. He woke up. Well, his powers at least. He knows somewhat of his powers. When he woke up as a kid, seeing a man and a woman stabbed through the heart with a giant nine-tailed fox behind them, looking at him with anger, but he could tell that the fox did not want to do this. He could see the motion of the fox. He was being controlled. And before the man died, and the man, which we all know as Minato, and Kushina, his wife, he used the Reaper Death Seal to seal, and the 8 Trigram Seal to seal all of the Nine Tails within Naruto. He thought he could take it because of the massive amount of chakra he sensed from Naruto. And so, from there on, we fast forward 4 years. There might be a little bit of fast forwarding in there. 4 years. He's running through the village. Actually, no, I don't want to do the killing them. Nine Tails was about to stab them until Hiruzen jumped in the way, pushing them out, using Earth-style mud wall to block the claw of the Nine Tails. And in turns, he took the hit for it. He was slowly dying, but in turns he barely managed to pull off the Reaper Death Seal and the 8 Trigram Seal at the same time, and steal the entire Nine Tails with a Naruto. And then a year later, Naruto's barely learning to walk, but in turns he knows how to walk. He just walks when they're not there. He has memories of it, but he doesn't want to show it. And so, due to that, he was barely learning to walk in their eyes when they had a second child. And this was, I guess we can say, what are we gonna name them? It's gonna be a generic. We all gonna hate Memamito. Let's go with that. But due to this Memamito, Minato saw Menma as a mirror image of himself. So he took more care of Menma than Naruto and Naruto, or Naruto and Naruto. I would like to point out they both have red hair. They have actually the chakra trains too. But due to this, Naruto realized that, and slowly but surely, the village was making his father hate him more, because he would run from the villagers, constantly running, trying to escape. And then he would get beaten. But his father didn't know this. He just heard the villagers whisper about Demon Fox if it became him. Because he did have a tail and ears. Quite a big one, in fact, for a tail, but not the best, I guess you can say, in fluffiness yet. But the tail was more or less a mirror image. And so Minato was slowly getting corrupted by his own village. They hate his son. And he thought of Menma as the prophecy child, which Jiraiya came in with Tsunade in order to find this. I'm not completely sure about that though. Kushina thought, but she didn't want to go against her husband, who thought Menma and Naruto were the prophecy childs. And due to that, it was more or less Naruto getting thrown out against his own will, or Kushina's own will. And the Jiraiya time skip, Jiraiya and Tsunade came when they were when Naruto was about 6. And Naruto and Menma were about 5. And right after they kicked him out, Kushina tried to get him a house, but Minato said no, which angered Kushina, but she really couldn't do anything. But unfortunately for Minato and Kushina, as well as Naruto, Menma was basically a spoiled brat at this point. Minato did not, to be fair, he thought his son a demon, but he didn't really think of that. But unfortunately, Minato was gonna realize too late. Because Minato saw what the villagers did to him sometimes. He didn't do anything. When Kushina saw, barely, she had a hint of anger, but the villagers quickly helped Naruto up and scares of Hokage's wife. But Hokage saw sometimes from his window, but didn't do anything about it. Think it was punishment for the demon fox. But you can also bet when it came to Naruto, he was running from the villagers. Alright, I'm pretty sure I left off when Naruto was running from the villagers. So let's continue on from that. When Naruto was running from the villagers, let's just say, he didn't take the right turn. He thought he thought the turn was this one, but it was actually the next one. He got trapped in a dead end. And he knew he couldn't escape. He saw people do the tree walking, water walking, but he didn't know how to control his chakra yet. So, he was practically screwed. He tried to crawl with the fence, but that didn't work. The villagers grabbed him. There were some shinobis in there, tunings. I think a few Ginnings, if you want to be exact. A few Ginnings came there. One of the tunings took initiative, because he did not have he did have whisker marks, but they wanted to make them more defined, I guess you can say. Let everyone know this is a demon in their minds. So when the tunings grabbed the kunai, he did 3 long slashes on his face. Each time he was yelling at them to stop, but they all held him down, not caring for what he said. And then finally they took out his eye. They slit his eye. They pulled it out, cut it, everything. It was his right eye. His right eye, well, let's just say, not very good. They left it out there. But one of the tunings thought he didn't have enough pain yet. And so, due to this, he decided he was going to slit his neck. But he didn't want to kill him, no. He just wanted to take away his voice. So he slit him deep enough, but not deep enough to kill him, where it would slit his throat completely. They just wanted to, make him never talk again. Never speak of this again. And because I'm pretty sure I said he had ears and tail, but those ears and tail enhanced his hearing, his eyesight, his sensing, smell, feel, touch, everything. And if I want to say this, Kurama saw what this kid has been through. Not until Fox saw what he's been through. And he decided he does not need to fight me for my power. He deserves it for what he's endured at this point. I just wish I wasn't sealed inside of him so he didn't have to take this torment. So, naturally, Naruto blacked out. But Kurama took over his body during this time and walked him out of the village. Because Naruto befriended Kurama when he was 3, And he was very smart for his age, knowing more things than an average Minato would in his adult age. So, during the cage, he imagined a key to open the cage. And surprisingly enough, it formed, which you might call bullshit, but I don't care. It was in his mindscape. Anything happened in the owner's mindscape if he wills it. And after freeing Kurama, he decided to make this more nice for Kurama instead of looking at a sewer all the time. So he made a vast valley with the mountains covering each side with a forest. Then there was a lake in the middle with a river, a waterfall coming towards it. Though there was a sun and moon, as well as all other things. A very peaceful place with animals, foxes, even there was even mooses, deers, etc., bears in there. But they weren't harmful. No, they were kind. They were nice. They wanted nothing more than peace in that world. But going on to Naruto right now, Kurama took over and let him out of the village because he decided this boy is not going to stay here any longer. This is far, far too cruel for a child like him. And so Naruto eventually woke up with Kurama healing him, and he asked what was happening. Kurama told the kid Naruto that they were leaving. They were not staying there because if they did, he would probably been killed. And Naruto grudgingly accepted this. His sister knew him at this time because I'm not sure. I'm gonna make him 7, the day like a year before they entered the academy because I am pretty sure they enter at 8. So he was 7. His sister was 6. She remembered him clear as day. Nicest brother anyone could have, compassionate, always protecting her from anyone, even if he got beat up. And Kushina saw this too, and she adored him. He even did this for Menma. Well, Menma and Narco too. But Menma didn't feel appreciation. He only felt anger that he couldn't protect himself. So he talked to Minato to train him. But going on, Naruto was gone for 3 days. Kushina and Naruto were worried a bit of Minato, but he didn't really care that much, thinking at least that thing doesn't have to be here. Because he doesn't address him as demon, no. He thinks of him as a thing, he doesn't think of him as his own son. Well, yet. Maybe, possibly, I'm not sure. But he doesn't think of him as his own son, neither does Menma think of him as his own brother. But, onto this, unbeknownst to them, he walked for 3 days straight. Him almost exhausted, peering within I think it's the lightning country? Yeah, the lightning country. He felt 2 very high signatures of chakra. One very lower than the other, but very high indeed. He could sense it. It was not a human's chakra, no. It was something different. You may be asking, if Naruto got his eyes taken out, or well, one of his eyes, what happened to his left eye? His left eye, well, is in very bad shape, nearly blind. He's keeping it closed for now until he can get proper medical attention. Maybe Tsunade, he knows Tsunade by the way, could heal him, but that's a long shot to him, in his own mind, that is. He was thinking, how could he do this? Because Kurama's been around for a very long time in Naruto's world, so he knows jutsus. He probably knows sensory too. I'm also gonna give him Yin Yang release, but that will be seen later on. But due to this, Kurama enhanced his sensory abilities so he can sense trees in his way. He also used his tail. At this time, he grew 2 tails because of the pain. And I think he had to endure while suffering. He grew 2 tails. So he was feeling around with the tails as well as his sensory, not to bump into anything. But then the two ninja from with high chakra signatures approached him. They could sense it, his chakra, well, not his, but Kurama's. And they were astonished that a kid this badly beaten up was walking still. Not even looking in his eyes, feeling with tails that they saw to get around. They were astonished, but when they saw the condition of this boy, they were horrified. It looked like his throat was completely bloodied. His right eye, was badly damaged, covered with blood. They couldn't see what was on his right side. They saw like somewhat of lines on his face, but they couldn't identify exactly what were those lines. They didn't want to yet, but onto them, the boy passed out right in front of them. They saw he had no headband, nothing, so they decided to take him to their village because they were on their way back from a mission. And then when they got to the village, they went immediately to the hospital. They gave the boy to the medics. They started healing him, wondering how the hell he was still alive at this point. Because he thought this boy was dead when they gave it to him, until he felt a heartbeat. He was like, oh shit, this kid's alive. I need to heal him. So they got immediately multiple doctors in there healing him. And Yugito and B went to go report this to the Raikage. The Raikage said 2 tails. What were those tails? He said they were somewhat of a crimson fox with white tips. And Raikage knew this because when Kushina, because he fought Kushina once, well, not for very long though, but he fought Kushina. She pulled out tails out of nowhere when she was in the middle of an attack, which greatly boosted her agility just a little bit under the Raikage's. So the Raikage was being pushed back because of her overwhelming strength and speed. Well, not overwhelming, but with a sword that is able to match his speed as well as her strength, Raikage wasn't gonna fight that. So he backed off. And the tails were like crimson red, I guess. It was like the nine-tailed four-cloak when Naruto against Pain. It was like that type of color around her tails and ears. It wasn't there, but Crimson got him a trigger. So he went to go, he said, bring me to this boy immediately. And so he went to there. He saw Naruto, well, he didn't know, a crimson-haired boy with fox ears and 2 tails, laying on the bed. He was awake, but he appeared, but he did not have his eyes open. Neither did they make a sound when coming in. He just looked at him saying, can I know where I am? Like this was normal. And the Raikage was like, boy, why don't you open your eyes? Like, even if I wanted to, there'd be no point. And the Raikage asked why. Or A asked why, Raikage. He asked why would it be no point? And Naruto said, do you really want to know? Of course, they all said yes. So he opened his right eye, revealing a hollow eye with complete darkness in it. And, Yugito was horrified that they did this to a child, let alone a child in her mind. And she was furious at whoever did this. And Killer Bee was just saddened. Even the Raikage was sad for this child, for what he had to go through, and barely escaping with his life. Then he opened his left eye, which was barely on the borderline red. It was red, covered in blood. Though the medics came over there, because when the medics were there, he started healing it. The blood subsided from his eye, and he just had a red eye with a slit in it, in his left. if I didn't mention, he had like azure blue eyes, like the most calming eyes you could ever see. Actually, no, I'm gonna change the hair. I'm gonna put it back to his normal yellow, and they're gonna be ye- yellowish with white tips. And so he came back with a blue eye, looking at them with a slit in it. And so he still has access to the chakra chains. I like those chakra chains, and I have an idea for them. But and so he looked at them, and he's like, "Why?" He could barely see with his eye, let alone he was barely seeing with it. It would take some time for the eye to heal, so he decided to close and use his sensory abilities. And he was like, I'm gonna just close this so it can heal up and I don't hurt it anymore than it has to be. And so, in turns, Raikage asked the boy who did this, and he said, My village. And the Raikage was like, What village? The village hidden in the leaves. I'm like, what? No, it wasn't the Jonins, it wasn't the Hokage. No, it was the Chunins and Genins, as well as the villagers. Like, how? Why? Because they think I'm the demon fox. They think I'm the one that killed their families, even though he was being controlled to do so. Like, controlled? Can you explain? You see, I'm his friend, I guess you could say. Well, he's more like a father to me than even my own. Cares for me, takes care of me, even heals me. But in terms, I really can't do much. I I wanted to protect myself, but I couldn't. It would be too hard for me to protect myself. I wouldn't be able to. And Mikage was furious at the leaf, furious at Minato, a man who he thought was honorable, let alone a skilled shinobi, even the Hokage now. He thought, why didn't he protect this child? Like, oh, if you're thinking about my father, he is the fourth Hokage. He doesn't consider me as a son. He doesn't consider me as anything at all, to be honest. He sees me as a thing because of my ears and tail. He thinks my mom might have did something, and then they finally got it right with his other son and daughter. But with me, he thinks of me as a thing. He doesn't care for me. I doubt he cares that I'm gone, but my mother and sister, I want to see them again, but I don't want to go back there. Alright. Alright, kid, you don't have to. We'll take care of you here. Even if there was something that you had to do back there, we're not letting you go back for what they did. And he jumped to the Raikage and said, Thank you. Thank you so much. And he started crying. The right eye started crying blood, as Yugito was completely horrified that he was crying blood out of his right eye and crying normal tears out of his left. Though her horrified face turned into a face of sadness and determination. She wanted to give this boy, well, a normal childhood. Yugito was not that much older than Naruto. Let's just age her down a bit and say, so Naruto is 7. She would be around 9. No, she was very skilled as a shinobi. Well, not shinobi. She graduated early. She was on a mission to find someone's cat with B. And so, in turns, she was like, Aikage, can I take care of him? And Aikage, or A, was like, why? You're only 9. I want to give him a good childhood. I want him to feel a sisterly love from someone else. I want him to feel peace. Is that so wrong to ask? He said, alright. And Raikage looked at Naruto and said, but I have a question first. why do you have those tails and ears? Because Raikage wasn't really paying attention towards what Naruto was saying. He was just paying attention to what the leaf did. And he's saying, oh, I was getting these by my friend Kurama. And he said, Kurama? Who was that? Oh, you don't know his name. His name is the ninth. What you refer to him as is the nine-tailed beast. The ninth-tailed beast. He was like, nine? Wait, you're the nine tails? Is he Turkey? And he was, yes. Though, I'd like to keep that under calm for now. If word were to get out, they might try to do something to get me back. So I don't want that to happen. And Raikage was okay with this. So he agreed with Yugito because Yugito lived with B. Let's just go with that. Yugito lived with B. And B was more like a cool grandpa. I guess you could say like cool grandpa that would buy you a bunch of like give you money, buy you stuff, buy you chips. Like when you came over to his house, he was like that type of uncle, but just had horrible rapping skills. Like that's B in this one. Or I'm pretty sure he's like that, somewhat like that in canon, but not really. He's like that cool grandpa that gave you the first smoke of weed, that type of stuff. All right. And so B was like, all right, I'll take this kid in under my wing, and Naruto got to their house. He was like, this place seems so huge. And he was like, wait a second. How do you think this place is huge? I'm sensing all around me. Because he's like the Byakugan / Top Vision from Avatar. But instead of being only on the, he can use it on the ground, he can use it anywhere. Such as from all around the supervision. It depends on how far he wants to go there. His sensory ability is so high, it doesn't consume chakra at all at this. So normal eyesight of around, I guess, for him would be 300, I would say like 100 meters? 100 meters, let's go with that. He can sense that far. And it doesn't matter if you're hiding your presence completely. He can see your outline. In there, he can see your outline of your body. It's not like where he senses chakra. No, he could sense Lee. Lee's chakra is like non-existent in the tuning exams, but I'm pretty sure it's not existent at all. Even the other parts of the Shippuden, as well as other parts of this Naruto, but due to this, he was more or less like he was like easily an SSS class sensory ninja, and B realized this. It was like, how far could you sense? I don't know, I never tried. And it's like, alright, I guess we can see it later. It was like, alright, by any chance, do you have anything to eat? And it was like, yeah, sure. He just gave him like a chocolate chip cookie, 2 chocolate chip cookies with milk. Chocolate milk. I hate fucking regular milk. Don't come at me. I don't like regular milk. Unless it's like, how do you put it? Like regular milk with cereal. I'm weird, alright? But let's go on. He was having a chocolate milk, and he was doing that so good face. Oh god, I'm never doing that again. But he was doing that like, oh, this is so good. And Yuto got a slight blush on her face. You know where this is going. Anyways, you saw the slight blush on her face. And she was like, this kid is so cute. How could they do this to something like this? Oh, they're lost my game. This kid is so cute. And Yugito's part of you. I'm not fucking gay, no homo. Fuck y'all. But, anyways, going on with this, Yugito was more or less just completely drawn towards Naruto. She was like, she wanted to protect this kid. Though he could probably protect her more than she could protect him. She was like, I need to protect this kid. I won't let anything else bad happen to him. And so he was eating. He was decided to go to sleep, but um, Yuto was there like, if you can't sleep, you can come with me. And Naruto, being the innocent child he is, without his memories of his past life, was like, okay. And he decided to snuggle up against Yukito, like I guess like holding his head toward her breast. I guess you can say her melons, but she doesn't have any yet. Child Yukito, don't come at me. But 9-year-old Yukito, 7-year-old Naruto, don't come at me. This ain't. They're not doing anything. She was like, she started hugging him and started petting his head, and then it felt good in some way to Naruto, and he fell asleep. But before, he didn't realize this, but he wrapped his tails around Yukito, and then later rest on them. And this is the first time he actually let someone rest on them, other than Kushina and Naruto, because his tails were sensitive. But towards Yugito, he didn't feel sensitive. No, he felt calm. He felt assurance between her and him. And so, due to this, he was calming. He was like at ease with her, and he fell asleep. So they. And then the next morning, Killer B or B was walking through the halls, wondering where the hell was this kid. He walked into Yurito's room about to shout, but then he saw Yuto snuggled up against Naruto's tails, snuggled up against Naruto having his tails around Yugito. He's like, oh, these kids going to be a couple. There's no way they're not being a couple later on. I am sure as hell going to see that through. They are going to get together. They belong to each other if they're doing this already. And so, when Killer B was like, yeah, he was like, he woke up he woke up Naruto first, because he felt like Naruto would be he would be more innocent not to realize. And so he woke up Naruto, and Naruto's like, huh? Like, oh, she invited me into the bed to make me feel comfort and sleep. And it felt quite nice, her petting my head. I was like, I see, boy, Like, what? Nothing. You might want to get up and wake up Yugito now. She might be embarrassed if she found out she slept with you. And I was like, alright, Yugito, wake up. And Yugito woke up. She didn't barely remember, and she only remembered petting his head. And then she was like, huh? What happened? And like, after you fell asleep, because I wrapped my tails around you, I left and went to sleep on the couch. Because Killer B told him to say this. Not to embarrass Yukito. And so she got up, she was fine with this. And she ultimately decided that she was they were going to go to Raikage to see something about Naruto. Raikage asked Naruto, by any chance, do you know your chakra natures? And he said, no. I know something called yin yang release, but I don't know chakra natures. And he was like, alright, then grab these papers. And be honest with you, I'm gonna give him like uncommon ones and one common that they all do, like most people do. I think 2 commons, 1 uncommon one. Let's go with that. One is he split 1 in half, but it instead of splitting it in half, it sliced into a million pieces, like dust. It was like dust at that point, but you could still see the paper fall, and then he lifted up, and all the pieces flew away. There was in the inside breeze. No one knows how it got there, but it came through. It was actually open. There was an open window, and that's how it came through. But I was like, the hell? I never seen a wind infinity this high. And then he gave him another paper. The other paper flowed with water, got soggy. It started leaking uncontrollably. This paper showed he had water infinity. Higher than Tobirama's water infinity. They're basically all higher than anything like Tobirama level water style. And then he went with it shriveled up. But instead of like this, lightning shriveled up and it was coursing all around the paper. it was like going off, stinging Yurito, Killer B, and A at the same time. Like, the hell? What the hell is this? And so, in turns, he literally saw this kid have three extremely strong abilities. And he was like, okay, we gotta train this kid. So he went to the training field and started training. I'm gonna do a month time skip. He knows Lariat at this point. He knows Wind Style Great Breakthrough, Wind Style Wind Dragon, I'm making this up, Wind Style Wind Wall, and Wind Style Wind Vortex. And then he knows Water Style Water Vortex, Water Style Water Prison, Water Style Water Dragon as well. It's gonna be like 8 month. No, it's gonna be a year time skip to when he's 8. He's gonna be knowing all that. And Lightning, he decided he wanted to try something, and he invented Raiken, which is Sasuke's. I'm just gonna, instead of calling Raiken, I'm gonna call it Kirin, because I like that name. Kirin. He shouted. He made a lightning dragon out of storm clouds. He doesn't know the Chidori, but he knows. He basically has a version of the Raikage's lightning cloak, but instead of being a lightning cloak, he calls it Lightning King Heavy Armor, which armor of lightning, like, it would massively increase his arm size by 3, but his arm was in there. It just portrayed 3 times bigger than it would seem on the outside. It was protected by lightning right there. Okay, sorry for that cut, but it was protected by lightning right there. And so, in terms, he alone decided, I'm gonna try and make this my own. And he has Lightning King Heavy Armor and Lightning King Assassin Armor. Assassin Armor is like a gauntlet type. It would like cover his arms like the Anbu, like Itachi when he massacred the Chia clan. Chia clan doesn't get massacred, let's just go with that. Chia clans that doesn't get massacred, but he'd be having that type of armor. But then Lightning King would be someone like, if you saw Meliodas in like, I think season 4? Yeah, I think season 3 or 4. Which one? I don't remember. I saw images of him. It's like that type of footing, but on his arm. Like claws extending out. And then he has like a type of chest plate with it. And then very armored legs, which is only his calves, which is his lower legs, forearms, which is his, like where his fingers are, then his right stops right at the elbow, and then he has a chest plate. That's about it. That's how much it extends to, which gives him an increase in speed. He basically matches the Raikage in speed, but instead of only giving him speed and a bit of power, it gives him a massive power boost, which is strength-wise. In turns, he's basically able to fight on equal footing at the Raikage at 8 years old, which we are going to make him overpowered. So fuck off if you don't like it, go somewhere else. But we're going to make him powered at 8 years old. His sister's going to be better than his brother. I'm going to do that. But before his mother, or he left his mother, his mother taught him the fox summoning. Because she befriended Kurama before. And she befriended Kurama. Let's just say extracting tail beasts and killed the host. So she took out Kurama. Or she befriended Kurama in turns, and she got the fox summoning by Kurama. So she taught it to Naruto. You may be asking how the hell, if he didn't know chakra control. She taught him a bit of chakra control, only to know how to do the summoning jutsu for the fox, so he could learn this. In case if he needed someone to protect him, but he didn't want the fox to get hurt, so that's why he never called upon it. Because she would probably tell Kushina, and he didn't want that. So he never called upon the fox. But now he's called upon the fox here. The fox name is Sheer. Sheer is the fox's name. And Sheer is like an Arctic fox with 5 tails. A beautiful white fur. 5 flowing tails, which had blue tips on them, representing the ice that she so naturally abides by. Naruto can't talk. Shira's been doing this all for him the whole time. But the Raikage, Killer Bee, and Yugito I've never seen. Even that team that tried to attack Naruto, Sakura, and Sai, and Shippuden, that you get to try to find answers from them. It's those people too, and they're also his friends. It's in that third person that we never got to see, and Shion. Naruto is within that team as kids. I don't know their names. I only know the Big Bus Girl, because who doesn't know that? But anyways, due to this, he more or less was just sitting there. He was trying to think of something. We decided, what if I made a cloak that combined wind, lightning, and water? Because I'm just gonna say this now: the higher your water affinity is, the stronger it is, but the less, and also the less chakra it takes to make the jutsu. In terms, his chakra level, his water affinity is so high, it barely consumes maybe, like, if it was mana points, he has like 1,000 mana points. It only takes one every minute that the jutsu is active. But if it's like a instantaneous jutsu, like Fireball, it takes one. Chidori, it takes one for every 30 seconds. And he's a massive chakra pool, like I would say 100,000. Let's go with that. That's a chakra pool, 100,000. And he's been using that. He's been trying over and over again. Takes him 2 months, which is basically 8 months, or 8 years, 2 months. I've been there for a year and 2 months. He has been fighting constantly, trying to get this cloak up. He finally got it up, and he was like, alright, now let's see what it can do. He decided to hit, but his hit, he didn't see his own hit. It's more like it teleported. And he was questioning, what the hell? And decided to do it again. The same thing happened with his left arm. Even with his legs. And he was questioning, what the hell has been happening? And he has Kurama with this. And he's like, this is the final stage of this Tempest Storm Cloak. And he has Storm Release, which is basically combining wind, water, lightning. Storm Release. There's 3 levels. One of pure wind, water, and lightning, which is the Raikages. Then combining either wind, lightning, wind, water, or water, lightning. Between that. Basically mix and matching only 2 elements of those 3. And then third one combines all of them, making them extremely dominant. The water gives him, a protective layer, like armor. But it makes him more flexible. The wind gives him speed. The wind makes his body lighter. And the lightning increases his speed and overall strength during every punch. So, it's basically amping up Naruto's physical abilities by 20. That's how strong this cloak is. So if he were to be, like, I would say in Sage mode, Naruto, he'd be 20 times stronger if he activated this cloak. And you may think that's a very big difference. I don't care. It's my what if. Now come at me. And so, in turns, this power, he decided he wasn't going to do this. Though he decided he would take up sword style or kenjutsu, he decided to learn flinjutsu too during this year. And he's basically master level, but he has no one to actually appraise him of his rank. So, Norikage asks him because he knows, but he can't really completely say he's a master at flinjutsu. So, someone's coming by in the next week or so he was gonna get appraised there by a master at flinjutsu. And he decided to take up kenjutsu during this time too, because he was doing kenjutsu in his mindscape. He was making swords in his mindscape. He's like the normal type katana. And so he would be more or less there trying to completely master Kenjutsu in his mindscape. Though technically he's not resting his mind, he is. He's resting his physical body and mind. He's just in a dream state, per se. And so during this, he would constantly be training. Alright, but he'd be constantly training. And due to this, he is very, very skilled with a sword. And he decided to take up two. He has two techniques. One with Kenjutsu and without Kenjutsu, which is Taijutsu. But Kenjutsu, he calls it the Tranquil Fox, because it makes his enemies like a sense of assurance before they die. It makes them be at ease before he kills them, executes them. In this type of style. Like he was dancing, putting them at ease before they die. And then his taijutsu is called the silent killing technique. A silent killing technique. Silent killing, I got it from One Of Known. I don't care. It's the Rogue series. I think it's the exact name, but I'm not sure. He's able to completely erase his presence at some points if he wants. But his taijutsu is on the level of my guy, but he has multiple forms of it. He has like the type of Hyuga style with the palms, then he has claw style, and then he has fist style, which he calls the appropriate name for claws, fox style. The one for palms, what would be palm? Well, the one for palms, with the palm style, was it? He'd call it, because who would use palms? He would call the fist style Goku style, because why not? Goku style. Palm style would be more or less the disorient in the whole body, because a single hit from Naruto with the palm style in turns would not centrally attack you in one specific area. It would attack the whole body at the same time. So if you hit your shoulder, it would move out through your whole body. He disperses the punch evenly within your body, so it takes a toll, wearing you down until he can kill you. And so, due to this, he is easily above Killer Bee and Yugito if they don't use their Killer Bee's transformation, because he is KCM1. I'm not, though. You're gonna find out what else he has between them, but Inosu Kurama is a bit different in this one too. But due to this, so we would fast forward from that time to when he is about 10. He is proficient in everything he does. He's a master at everything. He got evaluated for his skill. He did a fight to get it. And it showed his mastery in Flinjutsu. He beat the instructor with a mastery in Flinjutsu because of it. And he's a certified Seal Master, certified Kenjutsu Master, certified Taijutsu Master, certified Ninjutsu Master, but Genjutsu, he's immune completely. He doesn't bother with Genjutsu. He thinks it's a pussy's way out to this. He thinks it's a coward's way out, if you want to say that. And due to this, he more or less is a full-on brawler. He can do Tail Beast transformation, don't get me wrong. Yumito's 12, she can do Tail Beast transformation, so can Killer Bee, as well as Naruto. They have 3 Jinchurikis. 2 of the strongest Jinchurikis, may I add. And the only way in Konoha, the Leaf Village is panicking. Has been panicking for the past 3 years. Because they wanted to find out what the hell happened to their Jinchuriki. They've been asking, they asked, why do you want information about that demon? And Minato was like, oh fuck, I might have just fucked up, but if I stop this, because he found his eye. He found his eye that they took out in the alleyway. And he was like, fuck, I should have stopped this. He may not be my son, but what the fuck did they do to him? That's what he's going through his mind. But he is his son, completely. He's full Namikaze, he's half Namikaze, half Uzumaki. But he cannot call the chakra chains. You're going to see what I'm going to do with those. But due to this, he's he's been panicking. He got information that there was a nine-tailed Shinchuriki in the cloud. There's a boy with fox tails and fox ears. And he was like, that has to be him, but he wasn't so sure. Because none of his ninjas were welcome in their cloud village. He knew this. Even the Raikage knew this. If Minato tried, he would have instantly been found out. So, I want to point out, they decided they would send a Hyuga girl by the name of Hinata. Now, Hinata went with a few Hyugas, put on contacts, and blended it right in. They walked in through the gate. Hinata was able to see person training the training ground, and she was like, and she saw a tail, and she was like, hold up. And she said to her bodyguards, hold up, there's a boy with a tail over there. That might be him. And they looked over, sure enough, it was Naruto, training. But at this point he's grown 5 tails, like shear, on his shoulder. He doesn't hide shear anymore, they know about shear. There's no point to hide her. And she was like, good job, Naruto. Here, let me cool you down with some ice. She cools Naruto down by using some ice on him. And the ice cooled him down, and he's like, no problem. Honestly, I want you to get your voice back. It hurts to see you like this. Like, he gave a sign like, alright. But the Hyugas saw this, and they were about to jump into action until they realized he opened his left eye, which had nothing in it. And Hinata was creeped the hell out, because who the hell doesn't have their eyeball in their eye socket? She was thinking. And Naruto sensed them. He blitzed over. He basically teleported. That's what happened. And he was like, you have a lot of nerve being here, Hyugas. Why are you here? Don't you hate the cloud? Or something along the lines of that? And they were confused, because how the hell did this kid know? Because Naruto, I'm gonna just do another time skip to where he's 12 and he graduated. He was about to go on his mission. And Yugito was inside the house as well as Killer Bee. He was just doing push-ups, kicking a log, doing his durability training. And so, due to this, he more or less was, when he saw Hinata, he was mad at her. Because Hinata vaguely remembers the boy who helped her, but she remembered calling him a demon. And she realized, oh, that was just this boy. And it was like, okay, boy, Minato's been worried about you, or the 4th Hokage's been worried about you. It's time you come back, said the bodyguards. And like, no, in a stern voice. And like, what was that? We said you're coming back with us. And Naruto went into a more darker voice, deeper, more menacing. And he said, no. Why the hell would I go back to a village who only abused me, tortured me, beat me up, and called me a demon for my entire life? And Hinata realized who that boy was now. She was like, oh shit, we should have not been the ones to come. Like, why? Especially us. We kind of beat up Naruto once when he's helped me. Oh, so you do remember, Miss Hyuga. I thought I was going to be doing something nice for once, helping someone, but no. It turns out no one cares if I help them. They only see me as a monster, regardless. And so, he turns around and said, we better leave before the Raikage or even one of the other two Jinchurikis find out that you're here. They won't hesitate in not killing you. Trust me. They despise the Leaf a lot more since I came here. Oh, by the way, if you're thinking you can reason with them, don't think in chance in hell you're gonna be able to reason with people who know what the leaf has done to me. Trust me, no matter what you do, you lost your 9 tails. You lost your precious 9 tails in Shrieky. And the Hugos were like, fuck, we need to report this to Minato. Go ahead. By all means, go ahead. Nothing will stop me from this. Well, nothing will make me leave from this village. That's what Naruto said. And I do that. The Hyugas leave. They went back to Minato 3 days later, reporting of what happened. And Minato was furious, but he couldn't really do anything because if he were to try and take Naruto, who is an official Cloud Ninja now, he would be causing a war. And since I'm pretty sure he knows Naruto would be loyal to the Cloud at this point, he would realize if he tried to take him, he could instantly try and break out and start mayhem, killing his villagers and any ninja who came across him. Because Naruto wears that helmet I explained of in the beginning, with that scale armor from Halo, with helmet, which has a cut mark, a pretty deep cut mark, not scratching the visor though. The visor is midnight black. And Naruto's not going to be wearing black. Well, he is, yes. But he's going to have an orange tint to it when he activates it. He wears black normally. His azure blue eyes glow sometimes. Or his one azure blue eye glows. Sometimes. His other eye stays completely black until he's going to use his power. And you're going to see what I'm going to do with that eye. And due to this, he more or less just completely he was like, fuck Konoha, because he's been doing missions. He did multiple B ranks, even 2 A ranks, and he's made a name for himself in the bingo book. Because he went against the Stone and Sand Village, as well as the Sound. He has a bingo, he's like an A rank bingo on him, or A rank bounty on him from the Sound as well as the Sand and Stone villages. And due to this, he's been pretty well known, though he's only a beginning. And then the Killer Bee told him that the tuning exams were coming up. He decided, sure, he'll take initiative. He'll go to the tuning exams. And he said it was in 2 weeks, so he was like, we better start packing. And Naruto packed, because they gave him a day to prepare. They started walking. And due to this, Naruto is more or less like, because he saw it was in him leaf, and he was like, why the hell do I have to go back there? And it's like, look, you don't have to go, but now I'll go. They'll hold back the team. He didn't want that to happen to his team, so he went with them. And due to this, his team thanked him. He didn't mind him much. He didn't think of it as a big deal, but he didn't really care about that. But due to this, Yugito and Killer Bee were there. Oh, Yugito was their sensei. Oh no, Yugito's the same age, my bad. Killer Bee was their sensei, more or less. And due to this, may I add, the Yuto was with them. Who else would be with them? Oh wait, I know what to do. Instead of food being in the waterfall village, she was treated the same way, and she ran to the lightning country. And she got found out by those two too during those years. And now she's the same team with. They got the 2 tails, they got the 7 tails, they got 9 tails on one team, as well as the 8 tails. They got the 3 strongest tail beast and the second weakest tail beast, which I feel bad for Yugito being in that, but who cares? She's stronger than the average person in Naruto, but who cares? Anyways, due to this, they were like, any squad who knew them were like, fuck, we can't really fight them. If they decide to kill us, they're killing us. we can't do. We don't have more powers to stop that. And so let's say that when they arrive at the Leaf Village, because Ichiraku was still that Chad who gave Naruto free ramen. Who the fuck would he be if he wasn't? And so was Ayame. I'm pretty sure that's her name. Ayame? Yeah. I hold up. There, yeah, it's Ayame. But Ayame, they were like, Naruto was wearing that helmet. He was wearing this armor. Let me just put a clear picture. Because I don't know how to put like a fucking picture up yet. He has like a chest piece armor that's more or less like, I would say, the Sword Hero. If you ever watched Raising the Shield Hero, the Sword Hero's armor, the black chest piece he has, his arm, his shoulder plates are gonna basically be like the headband but more curved and be on his shoulders. One is gonna have the Stone Village and one is gonna have the Lycan symbol. No, the Lycans don't have a symbol. They just have more or less. They don't really have anything. Naruto would have a fox with glowing orange. He would have a fox on the left side, and he would have the Cloud Village on the right side. He has the helmet, which has a scar in it, and his arms are more or less just armored plated, but instead of having there'd be like 4 little additional plates on them on each side, like top left, top right, top bottom, or bottom left, bottom right. It'd be like that, holding in his armor. If you were to release that, the armor would fall off, or in terms, if you wanted to fall off. They're more or less how he keeps the armor on from falling off, but only he can activate that. And he has like a HUD like Halo 2. He doesn't have the radar, no. He has more or less, he has like things on his agenda. He has vision. He has like night vision, all that stuff on there. And he more or less just has, because he has guns. He made guns. Let's just go with that. He made guns. He has, I would say, a nice old-fashioned Beretta. Nice Beretta. I like the design of the Beretta. Don't come at me. But a Beretta on his side. And 2 swords on his back. And he has 2 pistols, 2 Berettas on his side, on each leg. His ninja tools are in his back. Well, he has 2 short blade katanas, like very short blade katanas, on his back. And they are more or less just there in case if he loses his sword. He knows he has like Asuma style combat with those, which is much more proficient and much more counterattacks as well as attacks for it and defense. But they're extremely strong. They're basically dark matter compressed into them. And it's time I finally review what Naruto's affinity or god abilities are. His god ability is the god of space and time. You might be wondering how the hell he's the god of space and time. Well, he did not. My Lycans are either 1, born a god, 2, become a god. He became a god by slaying the god of space. He was born the god of space. No, he was born the god of time. Then the space god was doing dark things or twist things behind the Lycan's back. So he went to fight him. He slayed him, became the god of space. And it's turned, instead of his usual white and orange, it's a space black. You can see the stars in him, and well as orange. And due to this, all the other people were kind of scared, but they didn't really. They brushed off. Naruto never uses its power. He only uses it to protect the Cloud as well as his friends. And due to this, he really is one of the few people who puts intimidation in the instructors, other than Gaara somewhat. But who cares? I'm gonna end this off here because it's been, let's just say, they're about to go into like the first part of the tuning exams with the Genjutsu door. Let's go with that. And so I'm gonna end this here. I want, if any people watch this, feel free to put a comment down below and like tell me if you like it or not, so I can change, or what things you don't like. I need criticism to make this better. This is my first video, by the way, so I'm not expecting to be good. Trust me, I'm not expecting this to be good at all. I'm just giving you a base. The first part, I think first 5 minutes, was a basic of the like and backstory. If you want to know more about the entire backstory of how I'm making this, because the realms are basically clusters of multiverses. My hero has a different realm, a cluster of multiverses. Everything has different realms. They're able to be crossovers of characters, but they're not. Like the crossover Naruto's and like maybe Izarang Picrossian Dungeon are the same thing. They're combined in the same world, but if they can be transported, like two sides of the same coin, basically like that. So I'm gonna end this before someone starts interrupting me. But I'm gonna end this. Have a good day. If any of you like it, just feel free and leave a like. You don't have to subscribe. I don't really care if anyone subscribes, because first of all, I'm just doing this for entertainment purposes. For people to like, pass time, because I know I like passing time by watching these. Anyways, bye.